Okay, thank you so much. I'm so happy to see all of you. And thank you for Melinda arranging everything. All of you. So I'm sure you all have a wonderful week. And I think we have, yeah, anyway, don't worry. Because we are only up to verse 11. It's almost 3 months, right? Time just run. But anyway, it's not really important to finish the text quickly, because you can study for a whole year or maybe more, couple years. Why not? Yeah, right. It's this text very, very important text, and you can dig so much in detail, or you can just go very brief also, because it's short, but it did lots and lots of topics. Yeah. Okay, so let's start our today's class or session. We should do meditation a little bit, meaning set our motivation, proper motivation. That's what is proper, what is not proper, meaning the motivation has to be quite pure. Why we are here? We are looking some we're looking good purpose of life, the meaning of human life. And in many people, in the many classical texts, particularly in Buddhist, it's we call it precious human life. Very, very precious, meaning if you use the human life in correctly and right way, we can make a lot of good thing for ourselves and others. So then everything's driven, every action is driven by motivation. And then the motivation has to be really pure, clear. And we all want to happiness, if possible, the very, very long lasting happiness for oneself and others. And for that, we need to do something. And what we need to do, we need to meditate, we need to study, we need to reflect the text that we are studying, and then, if possible, try to do some meditation. So when you say meditation means you get familiarized with the virtuous thing. And then, of course, you get familiarized with the negativity. I mean, aware, to get aware the negativities, and then how to remove them, how to minimize them, and then the increase of the strength and the positivities. So the motivation has to be, very, very pure and clear. So, and then let's start with our, I mean, it's good to visualize like some enlightened beings in front of you, which include Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and any other, like a role model beings, those who came in the past and still, exist in this world, and, serving in different ways to the humanities or all sentient beings. And then in the future also come. Just in front of you, right above your forehead, visualize all the, noble being or enlightened being, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We often use this term. So what does it mean by Buddha? Buddha means someone who have fully awakened from the sleep of ignorance and attachment, aversion, and jealousy. So that's a Buddha. It doesn't mean like a particular kind of religion or group of people who believe in different faith. So Buddha means someone who have eradicated, completely remove all the negativities and achieve all the good one, meaning, endowed every possible knowledge or wisdom and compassion. That's what Buddha and Bodhisattvas, those practitioners on the way to get full enlightenment. So they are here in front of us to help us to remove our mental dirt, and then one day we will become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings too. And then just it's not enough just one person achieving enlightenment. All other sentient beings also same in the same way that they want to possible the perfect or the long lasting happiness and never ever wanted suffering or the causes of suffering. So for that reason, it's really important to just feel that all sentient beings are joining you, and they're all here with us. Are they in phys? I mean, we are here, about more than 10 people, but for mentally, you can just feel that each and every living beings around you, and they're so kind of you, and they're so, they are all like, it's also a benefit rather than, hurt or, yeah, rather than hurt. There are sorts of benefit, meanings we are all connected each other. And that's how we really need to expand our compassion and closeness and loving kindness. So because of that, the refuge field and then the bodhicitta fields. This is very important to, visualize. And then the purpose of happiness, yes, I want to become a Buddha. I want to, achieve fully awakened mind in order to be able to handle, in order to be able to benefit all living beings. So that's the main purpose. So that's our setting up motivation. And so now we do a few minutes in single point of meditation. That's also very important in order to be able to do the increasing our capacity, our happiness, and then the compassion and wisdom. We need, the mind should be very focused, clear and focused. So for that, shamatha or the single point meditation is very important. And try to focus your mind on object. You could use any object like image of Buddha Shakyamuni or image of your your parents or any object, can be anything. But in this particular, for a beginner, usually it's good to focus on your breath, and then you feel like you are really connected with your mind, and body is really connected. So we'll do a few minutes of breathing meditation, and I think we are all in this good physical posture. So now that our motivation is already, we have already set our motivation, and then the physical posture is also in the meditative position posture. And then now we need to focus on the breathing. When you breathe really naturally and very slow and very deep. Don't do the shallow breathing. Breathe in and breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out very naturally. And if you want, it's good if you can count how much, how much set of breathing you can do within like 4 or 5 minutes. And probably we'll do 5 minutes, breathing meditation. Okay, I think we are ready, right? Make sure that there's no any tense in your body, and your shoulders just relax, very relaxed. And most important thing is spine should be straight. But while we're doing the meditation, if you feel any pain in your knees or feet or anything, you're welcome to just stretch and move here there. But the most important thing is try to focus as much as possible, very clearly, single pointedly on breathing, right? Okay. You can stretch, relax. So yeah, when we are learning how to deal with our emotion, it's very important to do very relaxed and natural way. You know, yes, you have to put a lot of effort, you know, but you can't force yourself. You know, sometimes if you don't, if you force first, I mean, some people force to do it, you know, even though you don't want to do, but you have to do it. I think, you know, it's depend on individuals somehow sometimes. Some people they learn very easy way, very like a relaxed way. They don't mind about kind of making too much of fuss. They can just remain anywhere they are, and then they somehow manage to learn, you know, how can you really cultivate and strengthen your compassion and patience, loving kindness. And some people they need certain place and quiet place, or maybe I don't know, some space, whatever you call it, and they need to focus more on, you know, like learn a lot about what is compassion and how do you really cultivate that, how can you really make that stronger. And then, but the thing is, when you say, you know, the Bodhisattva, the 37 practice on Bodhisattvas, it's all about compassion, loving kindness, and then, you know, enlightenment. That yes, you deal a lot of topics, but the bottom line is how to really strengthen your compassion. And then, if you want to strengthen, really make very expand your compassion, I guess we really need that someone who make you some. We need somebody where you are going to be compassionate. That you know, compassionate for those people, for yourself and others. When you say compassion, is meaning that you wish to free others from suffering and the causes of the suffering. If you just remain in isolated place doing nothing, just compassion and just reflecting, yes, for beginner, especially beginner and ordinary people, I guess you need it because we are not really prepared that much going into like a very busy place, or maybe where there's so much troubles happening, for example, in war zone, or where it's really the life is really difficult, poor people, sick people, or and sometimes it's kind of natural that we get overwhelmed and you can't cope much, you can't cope well. But if you really want to, you know, strengthen your compassion, expand your compassion, we actually need to go in the very difficult place, and you have to deal with the very difficult people, and then the worst place and the people, and then think about, determine that I have to work with it. Yes. Yeah, I have to go, you know, work with it, you know, otherwise, you know, His Holiness the Dalai Lama often said compassion in action, right? Compassion has to be action, more like that. You know, you need to be put in action. Action means you need to do something with very pure motivation, right? So, you know, some people, I think I share one story about one very good, like very renowned, so very practitioner, very important Lama in Tibet. I think I shared some days ago his story. I'll share again. This is very important. It's really inspiring. Really inspiring. I never met that teacher, but I read a little bit about his biography. Very important teachers in Eastern Tibet. I think somewhere in Amdo, and one of the actually men, you know, like textbooks. One of the monastery in South India, right now in South India, but in Tibet. You know, the writer of the main textbooks of the monastery, and he was actually in prison in Chinese, you know, and I don't know how long he was in prison, but the- oh, Okay, Tara is listening to us. No, I think no, that's it. But anyway, and what did they do was he was in prison for a long time, and then at the end, the authorities or the communists actually they kill him, meaning what you call it, the other term like execute, right? Like death sentence. They took him away from the prison cell, and then I don't know how they do this thing. I mean, I watched some people sometimes there are death penalty in different countries, right? And they hang them, or I don't know, whatever they do. Oh, sorry, it's really difficult to watch, but what they did for him, and they were really prepared. Everything was prepared. The god or whatever, they all prepared to kill him. He is bodhisattva. Sorry, what to do? And he about I think shot or something, and they shot it, but he was really relaxed and not really scared or fear, but instead he was really praying the person who is killing him. He's creating really, really negative karma. So because of that, he will face the consequence in the future, sooner or later, definitely. And he was praying, you know, and now I am more or less, I have to, my life is ending, and the suffering that I am having right now, may all other sentient beings suffering ripen upon me. There's one verse from like Lama Chopa, I mean, Guru Puja, one verse, a very powerful verse. And he just recite that verse a few times and asking, but the person who is killing him, just give me a few minutes. I need to do some prayer. Very strong prayer. And he just made that prayer, said, all the other sentient beings, suffering, just me, all other beings suffering, ripen on me. And then they, shot him and killed. This is so powerful, pure prayer. It means like they are, what do you call, their mind is big. The meaning, they are the heroic, what do you call it? Bodhisattva means the heroic person, courageous people. But yeah, this is what it is. And then another one was who was in prison again, long, long, long time. He came to India, and then he met His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then His Holiness asked him, what kind of experience you had in the prison? And then he said, while he was in the prison, he said, there's certain period that there's some danger. There's some certain occasion there was some danger there, and His Holiness thought maybe it's a danger of his life or what, and he just asked, what kind of danger is there? He says there was some danger that losing compassionate to the child, the people who are torturing him, because then when people are actually beating you, torturing you, it's quite difficult to be compassionate that person, right? Meditating, I mean, practicing patient, or in looking at the whole situation about the karma and the effect. Of course, he or she is creating the karma that one day she or he will face. But those people who can think about very far sighted, they think whatever he or she is doing is not for that creating suffering to me, but him or her. Because karma and effect, or the karma meaning action and effect, karma and effect meaning action and effect. Any action that you create, any cause and condition you will create, the consequences or the effect, we have to face it. Nobody else. Nobody else. I know, of course, we may have some collective karmic, karma, collective action they created, and then we may have to, like a phase, or we could ripen the collective effect also. The karma is good karma, contaminated karma, and the virtuous karma, and the negative karma. There's so many different types of karma within our mind stream. We call it mind stream. And the you say the karma, meaning we could have like a karmas of body, speech, and mind, but the main thing is the mental thing, intention, the way you move your mind to, act for the speech and the mind, how our speech and mind act is driven by the intention. So the main karma is the intention, is actually the mental things. Anyway, this is some, it's a little bit to think about when, when we are interacting with different situation. If you feel some little disagreement, maybe try to remember a little bit some of these. Some of the stories are very, very kind of relatable for ourselves. It's a teaching, it's a life, it's actually in the teaching. But then when it comes to the practical and the reality, we have to make sure that this need to be relate with the teaching. So the teaching shouldn't be just live as an intellectual learning. That was, one of my teacher, when he was teaching, the minute you start to study, you always have to have the motivation that I'm study and listening this teaching to transform my mind, to change my habit, to change myself, to make yourself a better person, to develop your heart and mind, and remove the negativities or this some of this uneasy thing. This you had the motivation is really, really important. This is really, really helpful most of the time. Okay, so let's do our tags. Okay, we are on verse 11, and yes. The verse 11 is actually here, but you can read the verse. The main content, the main meaning is actually, now we are actually doing the actual text, not the introduction. The 7 verses are introduction, more or less, and then the verse 8 and 9 and 10, it's about what 8 is the how to train the path of initial level practitioner, meaning middle scope. Mm, initial level, how to train the path of middle level practitioner, how to train the path of advanced. Yeah, that's right. In Lamrim, many of you are studying Lamrim, right? So in Lamrim, we saw the middle scope, and then small scope, middle scope. Have you heard this word? Small scope, middle scope, and then great scope, meaning those who wish, who recognize that non-religious actions lead you to take a rebirth in low ram. And we actually introduced the 10 non-virtuous action, and then the opposites, the 10 and a virtuous action. So restrain with the 10 non-virtuous actions by restraining with that, by practicing the 10 virtuous action, you will have a better life in the future. So these practitioners, they're focusing on men, and they main focus on that. These practitioners is called small scope practitioner. The non-virtuous action, restraining the non-virtuous action, which is include like a 10 non-virtuous action. I think I gave the numbers of them, and avoiding that, and then practice the opposite, which is the 10 virtuous action. And the 10 non-virtuous action, if you engage into the 10 non-virtuous action, you will have the suffering of suffering. When you say the three level of suffering, suffering of change, and then pervasive condition suffering. So if you engage, or if you act with the 10 virtuous in 10 non-virtuous action, you may have to, experience more of the suffering of suffering. So then also you may reborn into lower ram meaning animals, hungry ghosts, or hell ram. Yeah, but even if these hell rams and hungry ghosts, if you don't know where are they, it doesn't matter. You just think about the suffering is nobody want, right? Because if you engage into it, if if you create, engage into the 10 non-virtuous action, you will, the consequences will be first, like the consequences will be suffering. And those who practice the 10 virtuous action and restraining the non-virtuous 10 non-virtuous action, they are called the small scope of practitioner. And yes, I think so, yeah. And then this is actually verse number 8. Verse number 8 talk about that. So, do some reading again, and then, if you have this book. And there are a few other books too. So if you need to study more, you can order the commentaries. There's one commentary written by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. Have you heard? So there's one very important Nyingma Lama. In Tibetan Buddhism, you have, some of you are new, right? So some of you know quite well about the, view. In Tibetan Buddhism, meaning, His Holiness often says, rather than Tibetan, it just said Nalanda Buddhist tradition. That's actually, it's actually, it's kind of, what do you call it? It's a better word. So it's there is a Buddhism, and the Mahayana, it has like a Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism. This is what, is classified. And then Mahayana Buddhism is when His Holiness said that ancient Nalanda Buddhist tradition is very critical thinking, it's vast and very profound and vast learning, and then very long period of time that you need to study. And you use a lot of reasoning about, approve that this is right, this is something that really real. And it's a lot with so many, like commentaries, and then refer to the Buddha's teaching itself. So because of that, ancient Nalanda Buddhist tradition is very better word, ancient Nalanda Buddhist tradition, which cover not only the Tibetan Buddhism in the teaching, Buddhist teaching that translate into Tibetan language from late 7th and early 8th century, and then it's prevailed it very widely in Tibet, and then other part of Tibet like Mongolia, Russia, or different parts of the world right now here, right? And people often say Chinese Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist, Japanese meaning Zen Buddhist. It's just, I think they just name it because of the translation they have done in different languages. But Buddhism, you just say like Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, and then Vajrayana Buddhism. I think that's better. Just stick with that. And of course, yeah, then it's kind of well known that Tibetan Buddhism, in Tibet, there are four major tradition, four major. Another people work with another kind of term that people use, sect, right? You know, but Nyingma, Kagyu, Sacha, and Giluk. You want to learn that word? Do you know? You know or you don't know? Don't know. Okay, write down. Maybe it's okay to learn the different. Each one have their unique. It has this, like the lineage go to India. Each one of them actually rooted from India, and on particularly from Nalanda Buddhist tradition. All four of them. Nyingma, Nyingma. Nyingma. Nyingma meaning older one. The meaning of the word. Older one. I don't know. Nyingma. Nyingma, and then Kagyu. Kagyu. Kagya. Right?
You at the end, right?
Kagyu.
Gyu.
Gyu. Yeah. Kagyu. Correct me. Nyingma, then Kagyu, and Sakya, Sakya. Sakya.
A lot of times, so sorry, but I think a lot of times in English translation, they do just put you. But the
Oh, Kagyu.
pronunciation,
Kagyu.
you sometimes, just because that's
Sakya?
Sakyo, because that's
No. Sakya is Sakya. Yeah. Yeah, always. But the Sakya is always Sakya, but the Kagyu one about Kagyu. I think they put Gyu. But you can do some translation. Anyway, Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya, and then Gelug. The fourth one, Gelug. Gelug. So this is the term that you use, okay? So each one of them have rooted in India, and it's over it like it's from the over different times. When from 8th century to up to 11th century, mostly known as Nyingma or Kagyu, Nyingma and Kagyu. I think it's a translation thing also. When the Buddha's teaching start to translate into Tibetan language, the Tibetan king sent many, in the Tibetan young bright, boys to Nalanda in India to study Sanskrit and study with the Indian masters, study the language, study the, Buddhist, teachings and the sutra and the commentaries. And then when they return back to Tibet and they invite many of the Indian masters together there, and they translate all the teaching, whatever they have learned in India, and translate into Tibetan language. And so it's a time, there's some just slightly time differences, how this evolved there. Nyingma, the main kind of lineage go to, India is Guru Padmasambhava. Have you heard that? Guru Padmasambhava is a great practitioner, particularly great tantric practitioner from India. Guru Padmasambhava. Maybe write down this, which is quite important figure in the history. Guru, Guru, Guru Padma, Padma, some Sambha, right? Va, Bhava, Guru Padmasambhava. Oh, sorry. Guru, Guru, and Padma, Pad, sorry. Padma, some Sambhava. A very well-known, Mahayana tantric practitioner of India from Nalanda University, and who was invited to Tibet by the Tibetan king in late 7th, early 8th century. Guru Padmasambhava Shantaragshita, another Indian masters, Shantaragshita. You know Shantaragshita, right? So, and then the one of the Tibetan king, Tizon. So three of them together, they said, there's a first temple called Samye in Tibet. I think in central Tibet, Samye temple. This is more a little bit kind of a history of the religious history. And Nyingma has very much, Nyingma's lineage come from India, from Nalanda, and their main, lineage holder from India is Guru Padmasambhava and Shantarakshita. Okay, Guru Padmasambhava and Shantarakshita, Nyingma tradition. It can, but all the other Buddhism also, all the other little like Kagyu and Sakya and Nyingma, they are the main, Guru Padmasambhava and Shantarakshita and Chugel, the Dharma King, Tisodesen. They are the lineage holder, the first Tibetan person who is the lineage holder of the ancient Nalanda Buddhist tradition. These three, okay? And then Kagyu, which is the, we call the Kagyu, Kagyu tradition, they are also rooted, of course, in Guru Padmasambhavas and Shantarakshitas on their, main, lineage holder. But then on top of that, there are their own unique, another Indian Mahasiddhi. I'm sorry. Another very important, practitioner, what was that? I was talking about Kayu, sorry. Kayu have special kind of connection, lineage, connection with Tilopa and Naropa. It's 11th century, 12th century, I think. 11, I think, right? Yeah, you have to make sure that year, I think 11. Tilopa and Naropa. Tilopa. Tilopa and Naropa. 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 And then the first Tibetan who brought that teaching from India to Tibet is Lama Marpa. Marpa Lotsa is the great translator of Tibet. Marpa, Marpa. And then Milarepa. And then this teaching passed all the way down now. And then Sakya, have you got? You got it? Okay, good. And Sakya is also rooted. They even kind of lineage master from India. Of course, Guru Padmasambhava and Shantaragshita is all of the overall kind of lineage order of the four Buddhist tradition. Then each one have also some lineage holder from India. Sakya, I think there's a in Tibetan called Tuptum Berbaba. Have you heard that name? I need to get the right term in Sanskrit, but in Tibetan you call what was that? But anyway, I'll get later. I need to confirm the name of the Sanskrit, but in Tibetan you call Berbaba something. But I don't know the name, the correct, the spelling. Anyway, Sakya's master is also rooted in India. And then the latest one is called Giluk. So it's kind of well known in the Tibetan Buddhist, community, or those who follow the Tibetan Buddhism. Lama Tsongkhapa here. This is the image of Lama Tsongkhapa. Many people, we say that he is the founder of Gilu tradition, the latest tradition. And then how could you really connect to the ancient Indian Nalanda tradition? And the very closest to Lama Tsongkhapa is Master Atisha. Atisha, have you heard that person? Where this is the mind training. It goes. Master Atisha time is 11th century, 11th, 12th centuries, but Lama Tsongkhapa is 13th, 14th centuries. There's like I don't know, almost 2 years, 200 or little 300 years gaps there. But the closest sort of connection to ancient India is Master Atisha. This is where the Kadamba tradition, the mind training, this teaching tradition actually evolved, and that's very focused on this. Its focus is more like, okay. I think these texts also deal about tantra, but we don't know. We don't go there. I don't know either. But we have some people, from really, really young age, somehow some of this, teaching, it's we call exalted teaching, mysterious teaching, is fascinating thing too. But you have to be really careful where you are going. Don't go wrong way. Because people may have some different fantasy, and that's not right. But anyway, so why we say the four Tibetan Buddhism, meaning four tradition in Tibetan Buddhism, is all rooted in ancient Nalanda traditions. So each one have their lineage master that come from India, who learn, who practice, train in the roots in India, and then went to Tibet and translate. And there are some uniqueness of each of them, definitely, but we have to just keep it really open. This is very important. Keep it open for all, respect for all. And then we need to come to like a private practice, individual practice. Probably we should have your own, like some specific teacher, but do not attach that. Make kind of kind of what do you call it? Bias. My teacher is the best, and not the others. That's not right attitude. If we think that kind of thinking, we're not practitioner. we are, kind of biased. We are not honest. We are not really doing the right practice. And His Holiness often said that. And Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching always says that. And all the other teaching always says that. So we have to do the right thing rather than that. And yeah, sometimes, of course, really good to have this guru, there's another word called guru and devotion. It's very important, definitely, but it's more keep it's more like private or the individual rather than too much kind of making fuss about it. Yeah. So because there are some mm, difficult or confusion create in different societies because of that. So we have to it's very important to find the right place, the right people, and the right teaching. That's very important. But then how do you really find the right people and the right teaching? Use your own mind correctly, very honestly, openly. That's the right way to do. And Lama Tsongkhapa's in Lamrim teaching, Lamrim said that you can check and remain yourself as like a skeptical, you know, meaning not really judgmental. If you're just a judgmental, if you try to find the, like a faults of that person all the time, looking only the faults and then not really looking at the qualities or the, values, then you will just create too much suspicion, as you said, within yourself. Too much, superstition, too much kind of superstition, come to your mind. It just disturb our mind instead of help. So because of that, you have to be really honest and then really open way. So it's really, really important to respect for all the authentic, Buddhist and authentic, religious tradition. And then within the Buddhism, of course, you have to have, because they are all, directing toward the betterment, what we are really seeking. And Lama Tsongkhapa, he would be like the founder of Gelupa tradition, definitely. Gelupa tradition, where you focus so much on the vast learning, and then their practices in outlook, they are really focused on the discipline, really well disciplined. When it comes to discipline, meaning how they really body and the speech, mostly how you really speak gently, softly, not lying, not cheating, no idle gossip. Their focus is for the outset, it's called Vinaya, meaning the monastic codes or the discipline. Ethical discipline is very, very focused and outscored, like a, and then their mind, it's bodhicitta, compassion. Okay, and then the secret, yes, you know the bliss and the emptiness is there, really, really secret practice. So but then how can you really make that? And then you need to study all of this. Okay, now why I said this, the three scope. Yeah, the first scope, small scope, middle scope, and then the great one. Verse number 8 is the initial scope or the small scope. The small scope, they are so much frightened of the suffering, and they want to feel that. And then the small scope person, they're frightened, they fear to the suffering of change, and then they want to escape from that. And then greater scope person, who are looking at all samsara, no matter where you are, your desiram, formalism, anywhere, is a nature of suffering. And because of that, you want to free from the suffering, not only just yourself, but others too. That's how the bodhicitta, practice comes. And that's why you got that great, the biggest or the greatest scope. So the Lamrim focus all this, teaching. And then here you actually the verse number 8 is the initial one, and the 9 is the middle one, and then the verse number 10 to 24, it says how to train the path of the advanced practitioner. Here you use advanced practitioner. I think Geshe, the Rusonam and the Geshe, what is his name? I forgot. Sonam Rinchen. who passed away, but it's really, really great teacher. And they use this the word advanced practitioner. And usually in the Lamrim, I think is great practitioner, right?
Being a great capacity.
What was that?
Capacity.
Oh, capacity, another word. Another word is a capacity, yeah. Small capacity, middle capacity, or great capacity. That's also used. But the main thing is, renunciation. You have to have the renunciation, and then the bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness. So if someone who is really inspired for the bodhicitta, and bodhicitta is, I think we explained what is it. What is it? It's a mind that wish to achieve, like complete, happiness and fearlessness, or the Buddhahood, to benefit all other beings. So that's bodhicitta. So yeah, this is what it's. And then now verse number 11. It's meditating on the equalizing and exchange of self and others during meditative equipoise. You need to deal with that. I think, did I give you the sevenfold cause and effect method to how to, cultivate bodhicitta? I think so, yeah. So the verse number 11 is actually, the method, another method. You have like two main method, how to cultivate bodhicitta. And the sevenfold cause and effect is one method. And then the other one is equalizing, what is that? Yeah, equalizing and exchange self with others. So equalizing. I think, I think you all have the outline of the, you can check at the outline at the back. I think you have the outline here. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. At the end. Yeah.
At the end, at the very end, yeah.
You have the other. Done the ones I made.
Oh, I think I have some copy. Where oh, 1 minute. I think we have a copy here. 1 minute. Oh, they're here. Oh, where did they go?
I think it's on those ones that I made today, right there.
Oh, you have, okay.
It was on the people from the website.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Is it? But we have the outline. If someone, you don't have the outline, I'll give. I think it's put in the room. I don't know somehow, but I thought it's here, but it's not here. If some have missing the outline, it's at only 2 pages, and we can get you to the copy. So the outline here where it says, it's a number, and it's really, really well laid out. Yeah, meditating on equalizing in exchange self with others during meditative equipoise. Well, leave it this one. When you say Arya being meditative equipoise and post-meditative equipoise, these are, little technical. When you really meditate, when you're really transformation and realizations happening, and then you're really entering into the path. Did I give you the 5 paths? I think so, right? Path of accumulation. Maybe right now. No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Because the word that he used here, the equipoise, path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of normal learning. So this need to know. And then how can we enter into the path of accumulation and the path of preparation and the path of seeing and the path of meditation and the path of normal learning. Path of normal learning means you are achieving Buddhahood. You become Buddha. That's the time when you become a Buddha. And then you have to walk step by step. Path of accumulation, there are 2 ways. If someone have, the Theravada or the lower vehicle, the Pratika Buddha, and the Sabrakayana and Pratika Buddhayana. Even you say vehicle, there are 3 vehicles. You look a little kind of confused. Are you okay? Good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 3 vehicles, like the timing vehicle and the
There's no, I'm not really diamond vehicle. I think I'm referring just the general one. Three vehicles, Sarvakayana. Yana is vehicle. Sarvakayana, meaning there's another word for that. Sarvaka is actually a Sanskrit word. Slowly to realize is actually Pratika Buddhayana. Anyway, Sarvakayana. Write down Sarvakayana. Sarva Sarvaka, I think. Sarvakayana, Yana. Sarvakayana. And then Pratika Buddhayana. So these two are who are only, seeking personal liberation, meaning nirvana, out of Buddhahood and nirvana, only nirvana. Nirvana, what is nirvana? It's mental state when we are free from affliction, meaning when you are free from the suffering and the causes of suffering. Get it? So when are we free, meaning when you are removed suffering and then the causes of the suffering from your mind stream, and we will become free. Liberation means you are liberate from samsara. Another word, liberate from samsara. What does samsara mean? Samsara is cycle existence where you take a rebirth uncontrollably because of affliction and contaminated karma. Contaminated karma meaning it has some dirt with it, meaning mixed with ignorance, attachment, aversion, and jealousies, whatever the name you put. It's like it has like a 21 different types of negative affliction that root actually 6, and then the secondary 20. So total 26 in a different time, different affliction identify in the Buddhist psychology. That the root are the Chajadantimo, meaning is attachment, aversion, ignorance, and then the Chajadantimo. But yeah, they are sick. We need to study the Buddhist psychology later. But nirvana or liberation, the Sarvakayana and the Pratikubadayana who are seeking only personal liberation, not really seeking Buddhahood, or not really seeking complete or long-lasting happiness, meaning Buddhahood, who are fear of, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just was happy understanding that also nirvana meant that you had direct perception of emptiness.
Yeah. Emptiness, no, I didn't touch. Yeah. Remove suffering and then the causes of suffering by actualizing emptiness and by cultivating, by realizing the emptiness. Without realizing the emptiness, nothing can be removed from your mental, nothing can be removed from root. You can express by meditating on the samadhi. For example, the shamatha and vipassana meditation is very common with like Hinduism, many of the ancient Indian and other philosophy tradition, where they can express, where they can, cultivate like a really strong shamatha and vipassana, and they can even cultivate, if they can even attain, the mind, that single point day meditation, really strong. Even like another thing, the 9 stages of the prajna meditation, and then the beyond that, you could actually cultivate like a pliancy of the mind as well as the body. And when you actually achieve the pliancy of the mind and the body, we can use our body like a vessel for any practice. You will be able to use that. So these are common with like in non-Buddhist school too. So right now I'm just giving the general, the 3 yanas. So personal liberation seeker who apply, who generate or who realize emptiness. By realize emptiness, like there are 3 wisdom called wisdom of emptiness, that's drive through learning, wisdom of emptiness that drive through reflection, and wisdom emptiness that drives through experience or meditation. So when we enter into path of accumulation, you have to realize emptiness. Otherwise, no. Well, there's a slightly different, for the sharp, intelligent person, so people who are, seeking, who are inspired with the teaching of the Buddha, and they check, there are some, they're in two category. Is intelligent and least intelligent. The very most intelligent person, they are looking the view first, meaning they try to realize emptiness first, before generating bodhicitta. And then the least intelligent person generate bodhicitta first, and then study and try to realize emptiness later. Why it makes that difference? Do you think? What do you think? What do you think? It makes sense, no?
Yeah.
Because the intelligent person, meaning why? Because compassion, loving kindness. Yes, it's kind of quite common. It makes a common sense, right? It's something that it's anybody can easily think that this is something good that we all need to practice. But then when you say wisdom of emptiness, and then you go to deeper, more profound, and then you need to work harder. And whether the loving kindness, compassion, or for example the sevenfold, oh yeah, this is the method actually, right thing, where the sevenfold cause and effect method is least intelligent person kind of method, known as a least intelligent person method, meaning practitioner. And then the meditative equalizing and exchange yourself with other is the most intelligent person, where intelligent or intelligent practitioner method. Yes.
Now, would you be like more intellectual? And
No.
we actually need
Intellectual and intelligent. Intelligent means with the skillful means. Intelligent, intellectually learn things very easily, but at the same time you have the skillful means, complement with skillful means. Complement meaning, of course, the bodhicitta and compassion is always there, but then they're checking, the bodhicitta, compassion, is it something that really exists, like objectively or not? They're checking, philosophically questioning about that. Is the like nirvana or a Buddha, who is something is possible that you can really obtain or not? Is something that you need to transform yourself into in that state, or is somewhere outside that you can go and get it? They are doing a lot of analyzing. They're using their own intelligence, they're using their own mind and wisdom, and try to get yourself into there. That's why it's known as an intelligent, most intelligent. The greater scope. Greater scope, both of them are like in great scope or the capacity, but how you really even within the Buddha, Mahayana, or the great scope, we have two categories. It's quite obvious, I think, within ourselves too. We have, I think, if someone say, for example, if someone asks you, you should study this book, and the most intelligent person, said, why? And then there's someone who just believe in blindly. Of course, I'm going to do it without checking why. So you have to check why and how. And the one who really always asking question and how is something that really relatable in my mind or not. And but then when you say something relatable in my mind is not, is you need to know that your mind state also. And we had to know, you need to know our own mind mental state, how it's really actually acting. It's whatever way that your mind is say acting, it's mistaken or right. We are all kind of in a way, misperceiving many things that we're misperceiving, that we're believing this is really real. We're believing that is right. I'm correct. I didn't do any. That's why we are in denial, right? What is the definition of denial? But we are not aware that we are in denial, but we are in denial because we are holding that impermanent but permanent. and not real and not in like a truly existent, but you think like something's real, something is real over there. And because of that, we are just dreaming. So the intelligent person asks the question, is this something achievable or not? Do I have the capacity? Do I have the seed? Do I have that? And I'm pretty sure I have, but I have to work harder. So that's why that's called, intelligent scope. So the number 11 is, meditating on equalizing and exchange stuff with others during meditative. This is, just forget about the meditative equipoise because it is some technical thing there. Why I mentioned the 5 path and the 5 path, the path of seeing, where you have the path of seeing. Maybe I can give you, why not? Just meditative equipoise. Okay, let's read the verse itself and then see what is, the outlines where you say, okay, all suffering comes from yearning for your own happiness. But I think I was reading in this book, sorry. Yeah. Oops, I like this. Yeah, all suffering from the wish for your own happiness. Perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to help others. Therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of bodhisattvas, right? You have got the verse, right? And in this translation say all suffering comes from yearning for your own happiness. Perfect Buddhas are born from the intention to benefit others. Therefore, to truly exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others is the practice of the Bodhisattva. Here, I think we have to practice the Tonglen. Tonglen, have you heard that Tonglen practice? The giving and taking. So what do you say? Your own happiness, meaning, of course, we are seeking happiness too, but selfish happiness. If you're just thinking your own happiness personally, if I get some happiness, if I get happiness, I don't care about others. This kind of happiness, you won't get happiness at all. Maybe, seemingly that you're happy, but in reality, probably not. Maybe temporarily some sort of happiness there, but it will fade very instantly. This is what will happen. So because of that, it's like I think His Holiness or many other teachers said, be selfish, but wisely selfish. If you are wise selfish, what do you think? Wise selfish and selfish. What is the difference? What is the difference between wise selfish and selfish?
Probably intention. I mean, wise, selfish would
Wise,
wise, right?
Yeah.
That would imply that you're a little discerning and you're thinking about it ahead of time and you're being selfish because either you can't handle it, like you have a reason behind it, like your intention. That's
Uh-huh.
perceiving would be the difference.
Okay. And
Knowing
then
your own limitations, kind
right. Uh-huh. For you, why selfish and selfish?
Something with wise selfishness, perhaps you're really thinking and discerning what really is going to be a cause of my suffering with that kind of oversight in mind.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be the cause for my suffering, so I'm not going to engage in that because
Mhm.
that's the kind of selfishness, I guess.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, this, I don't know, is it kind of a secular word or not, but many teachers often use that. Be wisely selfish. And then I think, yeah, wisely selfish mean, when you selfish, just only me and mine, only just so much kind of attached to your own very small kind of circle, making like a wall in between others and yourself. And then, that's the, kind of, really selfish, the real selfish. And then you're thinking about the go beyond that circle and thinking little bit far-sighted, as you say, far-sighted. Think about the community. Okay, start think the family, friend, and the community, and the country, and then maybe the whole universe. That kind of selfish is good, right? But only thinking about you, me, and mine only, and the rest doesn't matter. Ignore. That's root selfish, and what do you call it? Foolish selfish. Maybe wise selfish and foolish selfish. I think foolish selfish and wise selfish is good. I think use the term. I mean, the term that foolish selfish. I think the whole problem that happening in the world is because of foolish selfish.
Yeah.
Right? Because then we realize that this is not right, but then again, because of the habituation, engage all the time. Anyway, okay, so the verse number 11 is about that other method, equalizing and exchange self with others. Here, what that is really meaning is putting others before self. This is another word. And it has actually 9 steps, and I feel I'll give you the 9 step next class where you have yes.
Why is the 7-point cause and effect considered the less intelligent? Equalizing and exchanging self for others are viewed as the more intelligent. I've never heard that before. Like,
Oh,
what
yes.
What is it technically about? One versus
It's the
the other?
technically about is the equalizing exchange of self with others. It's much more braver than the one who is start with all sentient beings when use mothers, remember their kindness. The practitioner, the follower, the one who jumped to the equalizing and equalizing exchange of self with others, they are much braver, much courageous, putting other before you. You're getting that? You don't they do not really necessarily think about all sentient being ones or mothers and the first two, I think, but the equanimity is a foundation. Practicing equanimity is a foundation for both. But you don't have to think about all sentient beings when your mother and this and that. Just think that everybody is the same, everybody is equal in all aspects, all situation. And so because of that, they put what is that they put that others before self. And equalizing when exchanging, when you say exchanging, it doesn't really mean that others you and you and others. I mean the self-centered attitude, the selfish and the self-centered. Instead of self-centered attitude, just put the other-centered attitude yourself. Exchanging these two. Does it make sense?
I just guess I get caught up in the word intelligent.
Oh, intelligent, yes, because they are intelligent because of they can do that. Instead of self-centered attitude, putting other centered attitude within yourself. Exchanging in the Tibetan word is called the Ranchinzin and Zhenchinzin, meaning self-centered attitude and other-centered attitude. Does it make sense to you? Instead of self-centered attitude, that right at the beginning, they're intelligent because they're right at the beginning, they can flip that self-centered instead of self-centered attitude, the other-centered attitude is much better. So they can jump without the sevenfold cause and effect where because you need time to jump to that point, exchanging, flipping the self-centered attitude, the other-centered attitude, why I need to do that. And then you need to okay, all other beings are once your mother, because in this lifetime my parents, whoever is so much kind of kind to you, similarly, you have so countless life you have taken, and each time you have parents, you have others who look after you, and then it takes time, it takes longer time, and you have to just go one by one thinking about that. So same thing, some intelligent people, they can like among student, some like a very very young age, for age 10. There was one boy actually, is very intelligent. I don't know I think Indian origin, somebody at the age of 11, he's doing like a PhD somewhere. And you can't really, he doesn't have to do this high school until like 16 years, and then college another 2 years, and the age of like what 18 or 20s, then you go to the university. Some can jump there because of their intelligence. similar to here. You don't have to go one by one. You just jump to the top at the begin from the beginning. Probably the like imprints that from previous life. Sure, definitely. Yes.
So I think though, isn't it still very important to do the 7-point thing for most people? I mean, most people are not so intelligent that they already understand all the stuff about Buddhism and also about how to work with their own minds. So the 7-point,
Mhm. 7-point cause and effect.
Yes, I think it's very beneficial.
It is beneficial. Yes, yes.
Because, I think it's important to do that.
Yeah.
Most of us, even if I try doing the
Tonglen, right.
it's like the, fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Taking to make it. That's true.
Well, I think they're both good practices. to
Sure.
do for
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah. General.
Because I think a lot of times, Americans think about intelligence a little differently.
Oh.
They use the word a little differently.
Oh.
So it's confusing
Maybe
to us.
capacity.
Because
It's
if
better word.
Capacity is probably a better word, yeah, because we
Okay.
are so caught up
What?
in
What?
how to treat
Right. Right.
school
What
boards.
about if you use the scope?
Think we use the different, what scope is this?
Scope. Another in the books, the small scope, middle scope, and the great scope. This is also used in the different texts. Yeah, scope or capacity. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, because I think it's we like intelligence, what like you were saying.
Oh no, artificial intelligence. Don't think about artificial intelligence.
That's funny. Word because of the way our education.
I see. Okay.
little different.
I see. Got it.
It's like,
Yeah, both are equally important, and especially for beginner and new, sevenfold cause and effects very helpful, very because you need to understand how the cause and effect work, how the karma operate, how our like a sense of everything. So the sevenfold cause and effect give like provide really a wide range of understanding about how you can really take transformation to yourself and then expand. And this is what in the classical text is really mentioned. This is what it is. But and you can think of that, you can reflect on that, and then one of my teachers said, don't mix these two, try to practice them separately. And but then it's also you can combine two. But oh yes, actually Master Atisha actually is what you call it, there's a word called join these two, subsume. This is I need to word the right word for that. But anyway, I need to find like some technical there. But yes, this is what in the text is not, and then also it's more or less kind of makes sense, but both are equally important. And one method is intelligent, or like when you say scope, this is actually different rather than that. Here we are talking about how to generate bodhicitta. So generate bodhicitta is the great scope. It's already great scope and the great capacity. So the small scope, middle scope, and the great scope is actually like the three ayanas. Like I don't know whether Theravada is the right kind of word to use or not, but in the text it's actually the three ayanas that's mentioned. Anyway, so I think we have only 3 minutes left, but yes, so the 9 point, and then combining to this two method is there actually 13 points are there. It's quite important to know, and then if when you do the meditation, maybe try to do one by one. It's really helpful in a way. And then main thing is in real life, how do you really apply this? So then mindfulness is very important, right? Single meditation is very important. And at the same time, Vipassana has come to about wisdom in a way. Okay, so I think we'll stop here and let's sit, just we dedicate our the whatever virtuous thing or positive thing, the atmosphere or our mind that they have created that lasts very long, so that we can make our development of heart or progress gradually but natural pace. That's very important. So because of that, the dedication is very important. And by doing this, actually just wish that all the enlightened being, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama and any other enlightened being that you really respect, is they live long and expand their and expand their activities infinitely in every way, in all around the world, in each and every sentient being heart, right? That's very important. 장주 심조림 제 마게 번은 기교지 교원년 번을 봐야 공도 패러마르쇼 나타 원은 뭐지 마게 번은 기교지 교원년 번을 봐야 공도 패러마르쇼. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, and have a good day. Don't forget to smile. Continue to smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.
Anyone like some tea or water or snacks?